Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive right in. Today we're looking at a truly chilling expedition from February 1959, set way out in the unforgiving, frozen expanse of the Ural Mountains. We're talking about an event that has completely baffled investigators, scientists, and thrill-seekers alike for well over 60 years. We're going to unpack the story of 9 highly experienced hikers who ventured into the snow and tragically never returned. The scene they left behind? So terrifying, it remains one of the 20th century's most enduring, baffling mysteries.
It really all boils down to one wildly illogical question. What could possibly terrify 9 seasoned mountaineers so much that they'd just flee into a sub-zero blizzard without their shoes? I mean, these weren't amateurs making some rookie mistake. They were fully prepared for the harsh conditions, yet something drove them out into the freezing night in an absolute panic. It sets a deeply suspenseful tone for everything we're about to uncover.
Section 1. A Mountain Mystery.
So, we really need to understand who these people were before everything went so wrong. This was a highly experienced group led by Igor Dyatlov. Their ambitious winter trek kicks off in February 1959. For weeks, they were making excellent progress, navigating through the brutal northern Urals. They were proving their extreme competence in survival out there, but then they made their final camp on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl. That's a place ominously translated, by the way, as Dead Mountain. And after that night, the timeline simply ends. The hikers just disappeared. You know, they did everything right up until this fateful stop.
Section 2. The terrifying discovery.
When rescuers finally tracked their route and reached that abandoned campsite on Dead Mountain, the scene they walked into totally defied logic. The tent wasn't just unzipped, it had been slashed open from the inside. It's like they were trapped and fleeing something in sheer terror. And get this, they left essential survival gear behind, heavy coats, their boots, stepping directly out into temperatures well below freezing. But the absolute most baffling detail, the barefoot tracks leading to the tree line were at a walking pace. They weren't running. Seriously, what could prompt a panicked, desperate escape from a tent, yet result in a strangely paced walk right into the freezing cold?
And man, the mystery only deepens from there. As the bodies were found in stages over the following months, investigators uncovered these horrifying medical anomalies. Some of the hikers suffered extreme internal trauma. We're talking crushed ribs and fractured skulls. Yet, inexplicably, there was zero external evidence. No bruising, no cuts, absolutely no signs of a struggle or a physical impact from an attacker. Think about it. How does someone sustain massive internal trauma, the kind you'd see in a high-speed car crash, without a single mark on the outside of their body? It completely defied all logic.
Section 3. A web of speculation.
Because of these massive gaps in logic, the human mind basically tries to fill in the blanks, right? This sparked a wildfire of really wide-ranging fringe theories. On the military side, some speculated the hikers wandered into a secret weapons testing range, maybe falling victim to a terrifying infrasound blast or an accidental projectile strike. Others leaned heavily into the paranormal, suggesting extraterrestrial involvement. That was largely fueled by local witnesses who reported seeing strange, glowing orbs in the sky around the time of the tragedy. And then, there's cryptozoology. People were actually wondering if the panic state of the fleeing hikers meant they encountered a Yeti. The total lack of clear answers essentially turned Dyatlov Pass into a huge magnet for these incredible rumors.
Section 4. The Scientific Perspective. As the years passed, the scientific community sought a much more grounded explanation, and this led to a very compelling natural theory, the slab avalanche. Now, this isn't your typical fluffy snowslide you might be picturing. A slab avalanche is a rare, delayed reaction avalanche of incredibly dense, packed snow. This is actually currently the leading scientific theory for what could generate the immense, widespread pressure required to cause those severe internal injuries, all without leaving any external bruises.
Let's break down exactly how this catastrophic mechanism likely played out. First, heavy snow accumulates on the slope directly above their tent. Over time, this delayed reaction pressure just builds up unseen. Then, suddenly, this massive, dense slab breaks loose, crushing the tent with unbelievable force. The sheer weight, combined with what must have been a terrifying, deafening sound, triggers an immediate, irrational flight response. Trapped under the snow, the hikers literally slash the tent open and flee blindly in an absolute panic.
But hold on, that still leaves a major question. Why leave your coats and boots in a blizzard? Well, the answer lies in a truly terrifying biological phenomenon known as paradoxical undressing.
It's a well-documented side effect of severe hypothermia. Basically, as the body freezes, the brain completely misfires. It actually causes the victim to suddenly feel this burning, suffocating heat. It perfectly and honestly tragically explains why freezing victims would purposely strip off their vital winter gear in the absolute middle of a sub-zero night.
And what about the whole paranormal element? Well, grounded science tackles that too. Those glowing orbs reported by witnesses? They were very likely just atmospheric phenomena, or perhaps distant military missile tests that just happened to be visible from the really high vantage point of that mountain range.
Section 5. The Enduring Echo.
While science offers some really highly compelling answers regarding avalanches and hypothermia, it still struggles to neatly explain every single anomaly documented by the original Soviet investigators. The door just remains slightly ajar. Ultimately, what this incident proves is that nature is completely, utterly indifferent to our attempts to master it. That is the core takeaway from this whole tragedy. We put so much trust in our modern gear and our logic, but the story of these 9 hikers is a stark reminder that human survival is incredibly fragile against the raw elements.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question. In our modern, thoroughly mapped world, what other events are still waiting to defy our understanding? Whether it was a natural disaster triggering a cascading series of unfortunate decisions, or something a bit more enigmatic, the hikers' names are forever etched into the history of the unexplained. The mystery of Dead Mountain endures, leaving behind nothing but questions and the silent, echoing wind of the Ural Mountains. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning and keep learning.